Welcome back, everybody. My name's Tyler. Today we're back on the GTR and we are doing a battery relocation. So I have the Odyssey PC925 with the Redline universal battery mount for that battery itself. And we're just gonna do a little quick brief overview, but I'm gonna link everything else down below. I got this terminal crimper here, which came with a bag of terminals for 0 gauge, 1 gauge, and then it came with cable shears as well. We have a 250 amp breaker here that we're gonna mount either in the engine bay or in the trunk close to the battery. We'll kind of take a look and see what space kind of dictates. I believe it's 20 feet of the red 0 gauge and then 10 feet of the black with the new Concepts battery terminals. These are super cool, low profile. You get a terminal on the side here, as well as a 0 gauge, 4 gauge, and 8 gauge. And that's gonna be the same thing on the red here as well. And it has this nice plastic protector that you can slide on and off. So let's just jump right into it and we'll head out to the car. Here we are at the front corner where the battery usually sits, and we have the battery positive terminal here. And so these are the 2 stock wires, and I actually just cut off the end and added my own fitting here, as well as this. I wanted to leave as stock as possible to leave the fusible link all together and intact. And what I did was I ended up flattening the end here and drilling out the hole to make it big enough to fit on this stud as well. And then that last positive there goes to the relays for the headlight relay kit. So you can see I just used another L bracket there using the stock mounting hole for the fuse box itself. Just got about a 5mm longer M6x1 bolt, cut the bracket to size, bent it a little bit, mounted it up. Let me see if I can come around this side, but no, it's all right. And then I already did go ahead and I remade my ground as well. So that's where the stock ground mounts to before it goes to the battery, and then off the other direction to the block. So you can see I used that black cable there and I ran it down by the alternator. It's pretty dark down there, and then up right onto the bottom of the engine mount there. So I still am trying to determine where I am gonna run the battery cable itself for the relocation. I'm thinking that there is a hole actually behind the overflow tank here that we might run it through. And if we do come down here, we can see it'll come out from behind this panel here. I took out the upper panel, or this guard here, which I'll probably end up putting the back portion of the guard here and just kind of shaving off the top. I have rolled my fenders so it doesn't exactly hang on to the inside anymore, but I do want to try and protect this as much as possible. But if we come back to the inside of the car, we can run it down and around and back up underneath the boosters over here. And if we go back into the fender, there is this hole with foam padding here that we can run it out of and through the foam padding here. So let me put this down. Let me decide kind of what I'm going to do and run the cable. So the front part of the battery relocation, we have our terminal here, and then I ran the power cable around the reservoir into the fender well here, and this all gets zip tied up closer, but this is just kind of a rough look at everything. Run it up and over, and we're gonna push it through the grommet here. We're gonna remove this sill here. You have the screw tabs there. One here for this inside panel, and I believe there's one back here and one down below, and we'll pull our cable through, run it along, and we're probably gonna have to remove the rear bench seat as well. So we got our cable all pushed through nicely. So I just took a Phillips head, pushed it through to kind of make myself a hole at the top of the foam here through the grommet on the other side, and just work the cable through. And so here on the inside, I'll show you up in the corner, you can see where the cable comes through right over the top of the wiring harness for the car. And I don't know, I've been struggling to get this seat out, so I'm gonna try a method I just found. Let me see if I can mount this somewhere. So I've been pulling on this thing. They're just saying pull up, but someone said take a 22 millimeter and you find the metal clasp on the side. And if you can, you work in the 22 millimeter around where you can feel the metal portion that slips down. So I think I got it. And they're saying if you get around that, you can just pull up and pry. Oh, wow. Oh my God. That was so much easier. Oh my God. I've been struggling. I have been struggling with that for so long. So thank you, Husky 22 millimeter. Wow. Okay. So here. So you see that? That clip goes right into the bottom of that right there. And so pretty much what I did was I just took the box side and I stuck it right on either side of the clip there and pulled up while I pulled up on the seat, and it popped right out. Wow. The back seats are out and I can't tell you how easy that 22 millimeter made it. Little 22 millimeter trick. So then on the back, we're gonna have one bolt on the right there and one bolt on the left. And then the back should just slide up and off. Ooh, we got a couple JDM goodies in my little JDM space. What is this? Maybe gas or something? And ooh, some yen, 1 yen. Nice, badass. I'm pumped. All right, so let me get the rear bench out and we'll continue running that cable. So this is kind of crazy. So I bought my car from an importer here in the stateside, but it was a one owner car in Japan. And you can tell that it must have been a single person, maybe had a spouse, because no one ever sat in the back. And you can see where the seatbelt covered up, and that's the original color of the seat there. So where this blue was, these are supposed to be black, and over time they fade from the sun. So that's why all these GTRs, you see their rear seats are like that light blue with the gray insert. It's actually supposed to be black. So that's the color right there. That's crazy. That's freaking cool. All right, back to the car. So we have our line run through the cabin. So up here in the corner, we can see the cable coming out of the grommet with the main harness. It's a little loose here, but I'll probably just zip tie it up with the main harness itself. And then I went ahead, ran it along the channel here, up and over, and then you can run it underneath the trunk gas door pull way down in there in the channel. Just pull all this back. I did release the two 14 mils on the bracket for the seatbelt. You can pull back the carpet and see I just followed this right up and over, up the harness underneath this back portion of the seat. And there is actually an opening here, which I'll probably cover this power cable with plastic sheathing, just to make sure it doesn't rub on that corner there. And we'll go to the trunk. You can see the cables just coming out from right down there in that opening. And we'll probably just run it across, and we'll remove this panel over here and mount the 250 amp breaker, and the battery is going to sit in the corner by the jack here. That's what I'm kind of thinking, just to keep access to the fluid reservoir back here. So far we've removed the right side trim in the trunk. We are up to feeding our cable through from the back corner over here. I do have my backsplash panel still, so that should cover up the wire there. But we're gonna go ahead and remove the paneling on the left side and remove the trunk mat. And we're gonna mount up the 250 amp breaker. I really like the way my buddy Mike had mounted his. He had put his about right here and fed the cable behind and cut a portion of this panel out so it was still accessible. I'm really liking that idea. I'm probably gonna remove the paneling, see where this 250 amp circuit breaker will fit. We'll go from there, but I'm thinking that will be the best location for it. It's kind of out of the way, can still get to it, and having that little access panel there would be pretty nice. Before I fully take apart the left side here, I have the Renline universal battery mount. I'm using the base plate as a guide because I don't want to interfere with the side paneling here. So I have it almost touching. I'll probably back this up a couple millimeters, but I'm gonna go ahead and mark the holes where I think is gonna be all right to mount. Probably not here as it's kind of on the edge, but I'll use 2 or 3 of these holes, and then I'll have all this taken apart. I can mount up the 250 amp breaker, run all my lines, and I can test fit everything while knowing that this is going to be in an okay position. We have our power cable from the front now ran to the breaker. So that's where we came in from the cabin and across. I kind of tucked it back enough so that the cover here wouldn't interfere with the cable. We have the 250 amp breaker mounted here. And so I'll refit the cover, push it up as close as I can to its mounting points, and I'll probably just mark over the cover itself just so I can see where I can start cutting, and then I'll probably just square it out just little by little and just keep retest fitting just so I can have access to this. It'll make a great shut off, especially if the car's parked for a while. And we have our length for the battery, and just like what we did for the 250 amp breaker there, I used these riv nuts. So I just drilled into the bottom. I'm gonna start with 2 for right now, and I'll push this guy into place. So what I want to do now, there we go, rough estimate, is I'm gonna take the New Concepts power cable, because we have our ports here that we're going to utilize. Just slide this on loosely, and I'll get a rough estimate of how much cable I'm going to need. And just like how we're going to make an access hole for the 250 amp, I'll fit the cover with where I want the cable to come out, and I'll kind of just start to oval it out, and I can run the cable through without it interfering with that side paneling there. The trunk is for the most part back together. We can see the access hole here for the 250 amp breaker, and then where I cut into the paneling for the power cable to come out. And for the ground cable, I just fed it into the New Concepts terminal, and then I ran it just along the back side of the battery there, and I just mounted it to one of the mounting points that goes to the body for the battery. Now I did stay with just the 2 mounts, and I mean, this thing it's in there. So I'm not too worried about it. Maybe I'll come back later and add the 3rd in the back. I think that this one on the edge here is just a little bit too much at an awkward angle, so I'm gonna leave that one alone. The only other issue that I had was I'll probably have a carpet made, or maybe I'll go and try and make something myself. I don't really want to cut up the original 1/8, I guess, composite piece that goes over the spare tire. It didn't fit. It's now that because the battery is there, it pushes it too far over, and it's got those, I guess, locating tabs, and it doesn't want to fit anymore there. What we can do now is go ahead and close the breaker. We can jump into the driver's seat and turn the key and see if the lights come on. So we've got our engine, the chassis ground, we've got the power cable ran all the way to the back, to the battery, and then we've got the battery grounded to the chassis back there. So let's go ahead and let's see. Oh man. It's been a year and 2 months since I've seen these lights come on. Oh man, that is freaking awesome. And the last time I saw that little red light, my oil pump went out coming home from a show. So, wow, this is freaking awesome. I'm stoked we're on the home run we're on the home stretch for this car just to get back on the road. I'm super pumped. I'm kind of still figuring out the fuel system components and how that's gonna go. I'm still waiting on a few things, and that's kind of holding me off from completing what's going on in the engine bay there. So once I get that figured out, we'll probably come back to the GTR. But I have a few other things that we can do in the meantime. But thank you guys so much for watching. I hope this helps some of you guys out there. I definitely watched a couple other videos and got some ideas from some friends that really helped, and I think it came out great. Thank you guys so much. Please like, comment, and subscribe, and I'll see you guys next time.